Hello, welcome to Introduction to the Visual Arts. Today we're going to do the second step in making our final book project. For this project you will need a pencil, even if it's a ratty pencil. You will need a straight edge. You can use a ruler or you can use a square like this. A square works very well, but if you don't have one, a ruler will also work. Just a ruler like this will work. You will need your two marbled covers, one for the front, one for the back, and you will need your paper rolls. And you should be able to find your covers and your paper roll in your packet. You will also need some kind of cord. So this cord is very sturdy. It doesn't have to be white. If you don't have cord, you can get fine ribbon. That will work, or just about anything that you can use for a string of some sort. You can use jute. You can use just whatever you can find. You could even use a shoestring if you can't find anything else. But you will have to supply the cord yourself. They're not included in the packet. So it should be about, your cord should be about 20 inches long, and you could have two cords. Some people get very creative and put 3 cords in, but that is kind of up to you if you want to have extra cords. But 2 cords are very nice. So that is what you need. Now you also need some sort of glue. You can use the Elmer's glue that is in your packet. I just got some glue that I found in the cabinet because I don't have any Elmer's glue with me at this time, but just any kind of sticky glue is going to work. I wouldn't recommend that you use glue stick because glue stick is not aggressive enough and it's not going to hold the covers and the cord and the pages together. So probably not glue stick for this project. You might need a scissors. You might need a pair of scissors. It just depends on how you fold. Most of the time you're going to end up, when you fold your pages, you're going to end up with a little bit of extra sticking out on one end of your folded pages, and you're going to want to trim them off. So I'm going to set the scissor aside. I'm going to set the cord aside. I'm going to set my T-square over here. And I'm going to put the pencil over here, and so that I have a nice area to work on. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to unpack your pages and make sure that they're lying flat. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a paper fold that looks like an accordion fold. I'm going to just open this one up. This one is already folded, but this is what we're making. We're making our pages to look like this kind of accordion fold. Let me move this up here so you can see this. And so that it's just going to be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until all of the paper is used up. Now, you have 2 rolls of paper, and you can do it one of 2 ways. Because the reason you have 2 rolls of paper is because many times students find that one length of paper isn't long enough. It doesn't make enough pages. So you can do this 2 ways. If you want to do it one way, which is take your 2 sheets of paper, butt them up together. If you do it this way, you're going to need some tape. And so you can just butt these up together like this. Make sure that you have a nice tight crease. Let me move this over. A nice tight seam. Make sure it's nice and tight. Make sure it's flat. And then you can simply take some Scotch tape and just cut off a piece of Scotch tape like this, and then tape them together. And make sure your tape is as long as the paper. And if it sticks out a little bit, you can trim it off. Now that's one way to do it, and you can just butt the pieces up to each other, and you get a nice tight fold that way. If you don't want to do that, you can just overlap about a 1/2 inch. Put glue on one edge right here and just overlap like this. make sure that the pages are nice and straight, and then weigh it down and let it dry for a while. Okay, so once that is done, once you are satisfied that you have a nice long sheet of paper, then you can take that sheet of paper and you can start folding your accordion fold. Now again, this is what we're going to do, is we're going to make this accordion fold. So the way that you do that is you take one of your marbled covers, and you want to make sure your pages are slightly smaller than your covers. The reason you want them slightly smaller is you don't want them to stick out. So I'm going to give myself about 1/4 of an inch here. I'm going to put a dot here, and I'm going to put a dot about right here, so that I have 2 dots. And then I'm going to take my square or my ruler, either way, and then I'm going to lay this on my paper. I'm going to, here's a dot here, and my 1 dot on the bottom is way off. So I'm going to just make sure, but this is going to give me a nice right angle. I'm going to measure this again to make sure that my 2nd dot is in the right spot. Okay, so you always measure more than once if you have to. That first fold is crucial, because if you make it too big, then your pages are going to stick out beyond the edge of your covers, and you don't want to do that. This first one is just absolutely crucial. So now I've got it lined up here. Let me move this up here. I've got it lined up. Then I'm going to take my thumb and I'm going to crease this. Just crease it so it's nice and sharp. Then I'm going to turn my paper over and I'm going to repeat the process. Now I'm just going to eyeball this, and I see that the edge of my paper, my first crease, when I look at this, and I look at this, and if I hold this up just a little bit, I can see that this is the crease. Right there, that's where the dot's supposed to go. And so I'm going to do it at the top the same way and make sure it's nice and flat and put a dot there. Then repeat the process. Take my square again or my ruler, and being very careful that these are nice and straight. Again, just repeat the process. Pull this up and just fold it on the ruler. Fold it up like that, put my ruler away, fold it down, and put this down and repeat the process like that. And you have to take some time with this, because if you don't take time, you'll get your pages, they won't be the right size, and everyone will be a different size, and you'll be kind of frustrated with it. So you just have to take time. This is, it's rather challenging, but it is possible to do this. So again, I'm just sticking my page out just a little bit here and just a little bit at the top to make my pencil mark so that I have my marks. And I'm going to just take this again, lay it on those 2 marks, make sure that I have this nice right angle there, and then take my pages and fold it up like this again, and just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then take my thumb and take my fingernail and make a nice crease here so it's nice and sharp. Again, I have to do it one more time right here again, and I'm just pushing this up like that, and then I'm going to lay my square on those 2 dots again, making sure it's nice and even with the top. Pull this up like this and fold it, and again take my thumbnail, make a nice crease, a sharp edge, and you can see here I have a little bit of extra left over. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a pencil mark here, and so that I can see that, and I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut this excess off, because I want all of my pages to be the same size. I don't want any extra. So that is just going to be discarded. Okay, so that is the very first step You have to get these pages folded nicely. So when you've got that done, you've done the first part and the hardest part. Now, I can show you how to put the book together. So here is the next step. You can take your pages and set them aside. I call them the guts of the book. So you want to set them aside. Now here are my marbled covers. So I'm going to turn those over. I'm going to just use the back cover first. So you want to decide of the two covers which one that you want on the back of the book and which one you want on the front of the book. So I'm just going to take this one. I found some cord here. This is some cord that I just have on a roll, and this is cord that I use when I hang paintings. So it doesn't have to be anything special, but again, you can use, if you want it to be really something special, you can find some ribbon or some jute or something that's decorative, something that's got a pattern. That would work really, really well. So I cut this about 20 inches. It's about 20 inches long. So I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to just make a bead of glue on my cardboard here, on my marbled painting, my marbled covers stock. So I've got 2 beads of glue here, and they're about the same distance. You can have them farther apart, you can have them closer together if you want. And then you take your cord and lay it in that bead of glue and make sure that the cord is sticking out on both edges, on both ends, about the same distance. So I have about 7 inches on each end of the sticking out from the cardstock, from my covers, my marbled covers. It doesn't have to be exact, but it just has to be kind of the same distance. So the next thing that I want to do is, while this is setting up, you can take more glue and you can just go ahead and put a nice bead of glue on your cardstock, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until it's nice and covered. But you don't want to make it so close to the edge that when you put your pages in, and that's what I'm going to do next, I'm going to take my pages here. These are my pages that are folded back and forth. I'm going to put it in here right on top of my cord, and I'm going to sandwich my pages between the cord and the covers, so that the cord is here, the cardstock is on top of it, so that when I open this up, I have a nice page that's nice and clean, and making sure that it's kind of centerized as best that I can. I want to center it because this book doesn't have a spine. The cords are going to hold it together, and you want the pages in the center of your marbled covers. So after that is done, you take the second cover. This one doesn't have any cord. Just add some glue to it the same way. Again, not too close to the edge because you don't want it to squeeze out. But when you have it nice and covered and you're happy with that, you want to take it and you want to make a kind of sandwich. Now, after you have this stuck together, you want to pick this up and you want to tap it so that the covers are nice and even, because you don't want one cover sticking out skewed or squared up or just sticking out. You don't want one cover sticking out like that. You want them all nice and squared up. And after you have this step done, then what you want to do is you want to lay this down on a flat surface, and then you want to put books or you want to put something on top of it to weigh it down and to keep it flat. Now, after you have that finished, here I'm going to take my art book, my modern art history book here, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to hold this down and I'm going to press my covers with the book so that it dries flat. And this step is very, very important, because if you don't do this, what will happen is your covers might bow and you won't have a very pleasing book. Now, with that, I'm going to stop. I'm going to make another video, and in that video, I'm going to talk about how to put your final book together and what goes inside the book. Thank you for your attention. If you have questions, you can email me or you can post your questions to the discussion board. Thank you very much.